go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Love Sports Radio.
Hey there, Detroit sports fanatics. I'm Taylor Phillips, and welcome to another episode of Taylor's Detroit Sports Show. It is Sunday, May 3rd, 2015 at 11 p.m. Yep, it's that time for another episode of Taylor's Detroit Sports Show. Tigers pick up a 6-4 win over the Kansas City Royals at Kauffman Stadium to split the series and reclaim first place in the American League Central Division over the Royals by a half game. Anibal Sanchez picks up the win, going 7 1/3 innings. Gives up 3 earned runs on 4 hits, walks 1. His ERA is now 5.11. Joakim Soria pitches another 1-2-3 inning and gets his 10th save out of his 10th save opportunity. Alex Avila goes 2 for 4 with 3 RBIs, including an RBI single in the top of the second, scoring Jonas Cespedes, making it 1-0, and then a 2-run single with a fielding error, scoring a 3rd run with the bases loaded, making it 4-0, and Avila taking second in the top of the 4th. Miguel Cabrera picked up 3 hits, including a 2-run home run in the top of the 5th, which made it 6-0. The Royals would pick up only 1 run in the bottom of the 7th on a sacrifice fly by Eric Kratz. Actually, they would pick up a 2nd run on an Omar Infante RBI single in that inning. Then they would pick up 2 more. On a ground out by on an RBI ground out by Mike Moustakas, and an RBI single by Kendrys Morales. I made it 6-4. But Tom Gorzolany, the relief pitcher who gave up those 2 hits in the other run, strikes out Eric Hosmer to get out of the probably a small jam. In fact, there was a man on 1st and 2 out. Once that 4th run was scored by that RBI single, and there was nobody else on, Tom Gorzolany felt relaxed. And with a 1-2 pitch, Gorzolany threw a nasty one just in the strike zone to freeze Eric Hosmer, who didn't like that called 3rd strike. And then there's Joaquin Soria again, getting Eric Kratz to ground out to Hernan Perez at third. And then Omar Infante, the former Tiger, grounding out to backup shortstop Andrew Romine, who filled in for Jose Iglesias for the second half of the game. Jose Iglesias left the game with tightness in his left groin. He is day-to-day manager. Brad Ausmus says he hopes to have Iglesias back in the lineup Tuesday. And then the final out came on a Paulo Orlando line drive to right, the opposite way, to J.D. Martinez on just 2 pitches, or 3. And that ended the game. Tigers improved to 17-9. The Royals fall to 16-9. And looking at the entire standings, come on now, start loading. Oh, there we go. In the AL Central, the rest of it, the Twins have now jumped to a game over 500 with a win over the White Sox, who have now fallen to 8-14 in last place. The Indians came back to beat the Blue Jays 10-7 and have now improved to 9-15. (13-3) was the final score at Target Field between the Twins and White Sox. Twins winning that one, as I just mentioned. Other games going on in Major League Baseball. The Yankees lead the Red Sox 8-5 in the top of the 8th with 1 out, bases empty, and an 0-1 count. And Gregorius at bat. Didi Gregorius, that is, for the Yanks, the Bronx Bombers. Mujica pitching for the Beantown Bombers, for the Beantown Ballers, whatever you want to call it, whatever else you want to call it. Other scores in the American League: the Orioles doubled up the Rays 4-2 at Camden Yards. The Astros edged the Mariners 7-6 at Minute Maid Park. The Oakland Athletics beat the Texas Rangers 7-1. And those are all the American League games. There were 10 games on hand. One of them were interleague. I will get to that in a minute. The Philadelphia Phillies in the National League beat the Marlins 6-2 in Miami at Marlins Park. The Nationals nipped the Mets in New York 1-0. Washington now. Doug Fister, the former Tiger, getting the win for Washington. He improves to 2-1. with a 2.61 ERA. The Atlanta Braves blanked the Cincinnati Reds 5-0. The Cardinals walk it off with a win in St. Louis, 3-2 over the Pittsburgh Pirates in 14 innings. The Milwaukee Brewers beat the Chicago Cubs 5-3 at Wrigley Field. The Dodgers beat the Diamondbacks 1-0 in 13 innings at Dodger Stadium. And the Padres beat the Rockies 8-6 at Petco Park. The interleague game that I mentioned a minute ago, the Giants beat the Angels 5-0. They shut out the Angels 5-0, but scoring 2 in the first and two more in the fifth. The other run came in the third, right in between. Tim Lincecum improves to 2-2. And if you want to call in on the show, call in at 646-478-4837. That is 646-478-4837. Make sure you give me your names. Make sure you stay on the line until I get to you. Please give me your name, city, and state, and keep all your content plain. Please and thank you. 646-478-4837. This is another episode of Taylor's Detroit Sports Show. This is only about the Tigers. Their post-game recap with the Royals splitting the series. I'm going to preview the White Sox series next. And it's going to be right now. The Tigers don't have a starting pitcher announced yet. But their offense will take on Jeff Samardzija, the former Oakland Athletic. He is 1-2 with a 4.78 ERA. I believe it'll be Shane Green pitching tomorrow night because Alfredo Simon pitched the first game of the Royals series, followed by Kyle Lobstein, and then David Price and Anibal Sanchez. So it will be Shane Green. Looking at Shane Green's statistics here, he is 3-1, 4.60 ERA. His last two starts were pretty rough. Shane Green has given up 15 runs on 18 hits. All 15 runs are earned. In his last 2 starts, in 8 1/3 innings total, 9 strikeouts, only 2 walks, 2 home runs, both against the Twins. His last 2 starts were against the Indians and Twins. The Indians at home and the Twins on the road. Shane Green pitched in the 10-7 win last week, Wednesday, when he gave up those 7 runs. And the Tigers trailed 7-3, but came back to tie it at 7. And then in the late innings, they came up with 3 go-ahead runs. So 3 go-ahead runs to win it 10-7. Shane Green is looking to bounce back from his performance. He still has a good record. His ERA has to start dropping back down. The first 3 starts were awfully good. Let me look at the roster again. His first 3 starts, he only gave up 2 runs, 1 of them earned, on just 12 hits. The average was the average batting average would be around somewhere below 150, probably between 145 and 150. Then his last 2 starts, I'd say a 249 average batting average opposing. His whip, his first 3 games, an average whip of 0.62, and in his last 2 starts, a 1.11 whip. But I still have to point out all the statistics. He has pitched 31 1/3 innings thus far, 20 strikeouts. Twenty strikeouts, seven walks. If you want to call in, 646-478-4837. That is 646-478-4837. Name, city, and state. Keep your content clean. And I forgot what that third guy line here. And stay on the line until I get to you. That's pretty much all I have on. And then I think Alfredo Simon will be after Shane Green, taking on Chris Sale, who with a 5.32 ERA. It's a 3-game series. The Tigers have tomorrow off. Then they start the 3-game series in Chicago on Tuesday. Tuesdays and Wednesdays games Tuesdays and Wednesdays games both start at 8:10, and then Thursday's game is in the afternoon at 2:10. Then they're back home against the Kansas City Royals again at Comerica Park, not Kauffman Stadium, Comerica Park. 7:08, 1:08, and 8:05 on ESPN. First 2 games on Fox Sports Detroit. Then they have another Monday off, and then they welcome the surging Minnesota Twins into town. 7:08, 7:08, and 1:08, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, all on Fox Sports Detroit. Then they go to St. Louis, 8:15, 2:15, and 8:05. They'll have 2 straight Sunday night baseball games televised on ESPN. Then they're back home for 6 games against the Brewers. All 3 games against those guys from Milwaukee are at 7:08. And they start a 4-game series against the Houston Astros. They're still looking for that 4-game sweep. Thursday's series opener is a rare 1:08 start. Then Friday's game at 7:08, Saturday at 4:08, Sunday at 1:08. And then later this month in May, they take a West Coast road trip to California. For a 3-game series, Monday through Wednesday, against the Oakland Athletics. Only 1 late night game, and that is Tuesday at 10:05. Monday's opener is at 4:05. Wednesday's finale is at 3:35. And then 3 late night games in Anaheim against the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. Thursday, Friday, and Saturday at 10:05. Sunday at 8:05 on ESPN, I think. On ESPN2. Check the St. Louis game here. That's on ESPN. Kansas City at home. That's on ESPN. Yep. So I got those right. Then they're back home against the Oakland Athletics after having Monday, June 1st off. June 2nd through 4th, they host the Oakland Athletics. Then they're in Chicago again, 5th through the 7th, against the White Sox. Taking a look at the rest of the standings right now, let's check. Yep. The Yankees and Red Sox are still in the 8th. Yankees still up 8-5. Red Sox, however, have a leadoff man at first. Leadoff man on first, which means there's nobody out. Now we go to the standings. The Yankees lead the AL East at 15-9. Orioles 12-11. Rays 13-12. Red Sox 12-12. And the Blue Jays 12-14. Last place isn't so easy after all in every division. The AL West, the Houston Astros of all teams are 18-7. The Angels 11-14. The Athletics 11-15. The Mariners are 10-15, and the dreadful Texas Rangers are 8-16 with a .333 winning percentage. 333 and a third, to be exact. To the National League standings, the Mets lead the NL East at 16-10, followed by the Braves at 12-13, tied with the Marlins for second place. The Washington Nationals in fourth place, a half game behind those two teams at 12-14, and then the Philadelphia Phillies at 9-17. To the NL Central, the Cardinals lead at 18-6, followed by the 13-10 Cubs, the 12-13 Reds and Pirates, and the 7-18 Brewers. And finally, in the NL West, the Los Angeles Dodgers lead at 16-8. Padres 14-12. The Giants 12-13. The Rockies from Colorado 11-13, and the Arizona Diamondbacks at 10-14. So there are two last place division teams that aren't quite as easy to beat as you think. Wow, I sure killed off the time. The Brewers have fired manager Ron Roenick after a 7-18 start. That's all the updates I have. The the Grand Rapids Griffins in hockey came back from down 2-0 to beat the Toronto Marlies at Van Andel Arena 3-2 with a 3-1 victory today. They go on to play the Rockford Ice Hogs in the second round of the Calder Cup playoffs. That's going to do it for Taylor's Detroit Sports Show, May 3rd, 2015. TTFN, ta-ta for now. Come on, 30 seconds. Announce it. Forget it.
Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.